didn't see you there. What are you watching? I know what you're watching. You're watching Fred here at the Gear Obsession channel. Anyway, you caught me buffing my barrel. Yep. You can spend a lot of time polishing your barrel and other metal items by hand with great products such as Flitz Polish, which I highly recommend. Or you could do it quickly with a tool just like this. And this is a Delta Shopmaster grinder, but I'm not grinding with it. I'm buffing with it. You don't have to have grinding wheels on your grinder. You can switch out them wheels and put a buffing wheel on there. You could put soft and medium wheels on here. And you can buff. And you could buff faster than you could hand polish with the best products in the world. Now this particular one is an 8-inch Delta Shopmaster. It has a variable speed. That's important because I'm going to show you something that you can do as long as you have a variable speed grinder that you can't do with a full speed. So anyway, I want to show off this product. You can find it for about $100, give or take 25, so that you can catch them on sale at your big box hardware stores such as Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, whatever. You can find them as cheap as $75, and you can find them as much as $150. So do your homework, find a good price, find your coupons, and get a good deal. So I'm going to let me show you this barrel here. I'm going to wipe off some of the polish so you can see how shiny you can get these things in a matter of minutes. I still have some of the polish on there. With these kind of tools, you use these cleaning, what do they call these? Cleaning and polishing compounds, and you find them in the same section as you find these grinders, usually in the hardware store, and you apply it to the wheel. But, you know, it's kind of waxy and you got to take it off after you're done buffing. Moving right along, I want to show you how fast this can work. Here is a very dull, empty, spent cartridge. Don't use a live cartridge. I'm going to go ahead and light this up. I'm going to apply a little compound to the buffing wheel. And again, take a look at how dull that is, right? I'm going to stand up. Now that quick, look how shiny. I left the dull part here, shiny part here, and it's incredible, ain't it? How shiny that is. Shiny, dull. Shiny, dull. It's incredible. So, if you want to save yourself some time, this is the product. Now, I'm going to do something else here. I have a old Swiss Army knife, and if you can look at it, I'm going to hold it at such an angle that you can, I'm going to hold my hand here so it focuses. You can see how dull that is right there. And I'm going to put these plastic scales to this buffing wheel. But one of the things you want to do is if you get one without a variable speed, this thing is going to be cranking really fast. You're going to burn the plastic. So you have to be able to dial it down and slow it down. So that's why it's important to get a variable speed grinder. Now I'm going to change the wheel out to a clean wheel because this one is pretty dirty and I've been using with metal and everything, and I don't want to mark up the plastic with a lot of dirt, so I'm going to use a fresh cleaning wheel for the plastic. Now you can also, by the way, find firm wheels. In this case I'm using a very soft wheel, because plastic, you want to be as delicate. I mean, you can burn the plastic off your knife in a second, and I practiced a lot to get this sort of down. And the first time you try it, don't try it on an expensive knife. Buy a piece of plastic and, you know, get a feel for how hard you should press, and make sure that you have this thing dialed all the way down to the slowest setting. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to change the wheel out. It's pretty simple. Just take the side off right here. So here's the old wheel. It's pretty dirty. I'm going to put this nice clean wheel on. That on there. And screw this on here. Tighten this up. Good. Make sure it ain't going nowhere. Put this cover back on. Put our thumb wheel back on. And tighten that cover up. Now, I'm going to turn this on and put it down to the lowest setting. Absolute lowest setting. And again, you can see how dull that is. And I'm going to try to shine it up right here on this side right here. Now again, very, very slow. Very slow setting. Now you can actually work scratches out. I had a pair of cheap sunglasses. I actually put them on this wheel, as long as they're plastic lenses, and actually got the scratch out. I'm going to try to turn this so you can see. And what I'm trying to do is get some of these scratches out. While not burning the plastic. Take a look at the difference. You can see how shiny that one side is, how dull. I'm going to bring you up a little bit closer so you can see. I'm going to try to put some backlight here. There we go. And you can see how shiny and one side is and how dull the other side is. Can you see the difference? So I'm going to go ahead and continue to shine this up, and I'll be right back. You got to be really careful. You don't want to put any kind of pressure onto it or push it too hard, because with plastic, especially soft plastic, you'll gouge it very quickly, even at the slowest setting, even with the softest buffing pad. As a matter of fact, let's see, there is a spot that I slightly gouged. It might be very hard to see because I've been working to try to get it out. But anyway, look how shiny. Look how shiny. Let me see if I can backlight just a little bit. I got a light here. You can see how shiny that is. And I got a lot of the minor scratches out. Let me see, there. So you can see that there's still scratches, but they're a little bit duller, they're not as sharp. And it's definitely a lot shinier than it used to be. I really worked on this spot. And it takes a long time. You know, with metal, you could just go crazy. You know, it's not, you're not going to gouge metal with a buffing pad. But plastic, in a second, so you have to be really, really careful. It's a very slow process, just barely letting it rest on the buffing pad and just slowly try to buff it up and make it shiny. So, made it shiny. Actually, with these Victorinox, the logos, actually, you could go lightly over the logo and it doesn't affect it at all, and it's a lot shinier than. I haven't worked on this scale as much as I did this other scale on this side. So, I'm going to keep on working at it, and I'll let you see the final product here in a couple minutes. Okay, so here we go. Final product. Pretty shiny. By no means do this to a collector's piece. You know, I'm talking about, you know, your everyday, you know, knife might be looking kind of shabby, and you don't want to be embarrassed having a really scratched up kind of knife. And you can put it to a buffer very carefully, and shine it up pretty good. It's not going to look like perfect, but it's going to look good. Now I want to show you, I just did a piece of brass, and you can see how shiny, and I'm actually going to show you how fast it is. I'm going to take this really dull one here, I'm going to put it to the buffer, I'm going to let you watch, and you can see how fast this works. So I'm going to go ahead and show you live how fast this thing can buff. Alright, so you can see the piece here, how dull it is. I'm going to go ahead and fire up the wheel, and you can watch how fast this gets shined up. You ready? If you did this by hand, you know how long that would take. Look how shiny that is. Look at that shine, like a brand new piece of brass right there. Pretty incredible, huh? Does get your hands pretty dirty. Now, when I first did this on YouTube, I had some comments from people who work in machine shops that I shouldn't wear gloves because a glove could get snagged in this wheel and it can yank the glove with my fingers off. So I'm using my bare hands like I'm supposed to. But this metal could get very hot very quickly. So just don't burn yourself. It looks like new, don't it? It's just like new. While I was down here buffing, I said, oh, my ring needs a little touch-up. So I went ahead and did my ring. You can see how shiny that is now. You can also see how dirty my hands are. This comes from the compound that I put on the wheel as you buff. That stuff comes flying off and gets all over your hands, and it makes your hands look pretty dirty. Look how shiny that looks. It's like a mirror. Pretty neat, huh? By the way, this has been Safety Check for you Safety Sallies out there. Rest assured, no guns have been hurt in this video. Now, if you notice, I'm wearing an apron. It's not because I'm cooking, but this is a pretty dirty job. Again, all that dirt, it comes off on your hand, it comes off all over your, it'll get all over your shirt, it'll get all over everything, that wheel spinning, and it's going to make this compound, whatever color it is, if it's dark gray, it'll get all over you. So I have this apron on, and I let the dirt get all over there, and not all over my shirts. So anyway, to finish this up really quick, bring you back over here, and we'll get my favorite chop tool here, the front and center. And again, I would like to highly recommend this. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on here real quick. I take this off sometimes if I'm buffing and I need a lot of room to sort of get up and down. I take this holder off and I need to put it back on. That's how it goes. And remember how it goes back on. There we go. Alright. So, again, I want to highly recommend this. Now, of course, you can grind on it. You got a grinding wheel. You could put different kinds of grinding wheels on here. Again, you could put coarse, fine, whatever, and you could sharpen your knives on it. Now, I'm not skilled enough to put a blade to a stone yet. I just don't have it down yet. So sometimes I usually go with this little sandpaper guy back here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but sometimes I'll sharpen it on that with some very, very fine sandpaper. I might touch it up if I have a really, really bad knife, but I usually use a regular knife sharpener. Again, I'm not skilled enough to put a blade to anything but a real sharpener that has the guides and has everything figured out for me, because I will quickly destroy my knife. So, again, I'd like to thank all you viewers, subscribers, friends of the Gear Obsession channel. I really appreciate you keep on coming back for some reason. I guess I'm pretty entertaining. You like to see me stumble and mumble around trying to show off some product. But rest assured, I wanted to, really tell you how great this particular tool has been to me. I've fluffed and buffed many a barrels and many guns with this, and it's made life a lot easier. But I can shine up my rings, I can do so many different things, and it's really paid for itself. It absolutely has, in time, and sort of bring back to life some things that I might have thrown away. So again, thank you very much for visiting the Gear Obsession channel, and I hope you have a